Hey, good morning. Um, the greatest commandment, hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, the Pharisees got together. One of them, an expert in the law, tested him with this question: Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Love your neighbor as yourself is the second. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, your soul, and strength is the first and the greatest commandment. So, if you love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and strength, then it should be natural that you love your neighbor as yourself. It's at least what makes sense to me. In this period where COVID-19 has been running rampant through the world, not just the U.S. but through the world. The U.S. Has not done a great job at containing this thing. Now the government has made some decisions, or making some decisions on local levels to mandate the wearing of masks. There are some states that still require the wearing of masks, or rather just recommend wearing mask, but don't necessarily require it. What gets me is I attend a church where the pastor is very, very clear about loving the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, your soul, and strength. And he expresses this over and probably relentlessly. He expresses it in all his sermons. Love your neighbor as yourself. In fact, he says this: love your neighbor as yourself, because your neighbor is just like yourself. That's really good. What is interesting to me is I go to church, and the number of people that show up without a mask, hanging out in the lobby of the church building without a mask. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people there who wear masks, and that's respectful, and I appreciate that. But there are a lot of people there that do not have masks on, and this is not the only church. A lot of churches are meeting now, and they don't have masks on. So tell me, how do you expect to welcome new people to your church when they come in your building and they don't feel safe? How do you expect that anyone that is seeking to know the Lord Jesus Christ can find him in a building where people clearly do not care about their neighbors? I am quite perturbed by what I see. I wear my mask, and I will be 100 feet away from my car, 100 yards away from my car, when I realize, I don't have my mask on, and I will double back to my car to get my mask, because I'm not going into that store without my mask. The reason I wear the mask is not to protect me. The reason I wear my mask is I do not know if I have COVID-19. And I do tend to sneeze. If I get around the spices, if I get around anything that's a little bit, that's a little far into my nostrils at the moment, I will sneeze. And if I have COVID and I sneeze around you, and I don't have a mask on and you don't have a mask on, there's a good chance you will get COVID from me, and I don't want to take that risk. So it's not about me, why I wear a mask. It's about others. So when your pastor is telling you to love your neighbors as yourself, he's not talking about the guy that lives across the street or the guy that lives next door to you, or one on the right side, on the left side, and behind you, in front of you. He's talking about the ones that you encounter on a daily basis. Those are your neighbors. And if you cannot show that you love them by wearing your mask, and that's a problem. And I'm quite, that leaves me in a position of wondering, do you even understand the first and the greatest commandment, which is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, and strength? If you don't love the Lord your God with all your mind, soul, and strength, then I get it. That's why you do not understand the second commandment, and that's why you do not live up to the second commandment, which is very indicative of what we see when we see you walking around without your mask on in public places, around other people, where you cannot be physically distant from people. So I am quite, again, disturbed by that, and I would like to see that changed.